Hi, Jason Knott, editor of CE Pro, and today I am talking with Mark Corbin, president of Vanco International and Beale Street Audio, and we're talking, of course, about outdoor audio. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Jason. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Now, thanks for joining me today. All right, let's talk specifically about Beale Street Audio. What are some of the specific offerings, the latest offerings from Beale Street in the outdoor audio space?
Yeah, absolutely. We recently launched our entire outdoor program. Really unique, mainly 3 SKUs that make up the mix, but are very interchangeable, which is excellent. We have a 4-inch, almost like a cone-shaped speaker for your outdoor staking, as well as a 6.5-inch. So those can be staked in the ground, and they're partnered directly with a 10-inch downward firing sub. You know, the nice thing about this sub is quicker install. It's not needed any kind of burial. It has a really nice range, obviously completely compatible and weatherproof with all the ratings. What also is really unique about our 4-inch cone speakers is they also can directly, with a certain mounting gear, go directly on wall as well. So it's very versatile. And let's say you even have some kind of hanging pergola or some kind of hanging type sculpture or idea that you're wanting to do, they also can hang directly as a pendant. So what's really unique is you have really 3 options within the speakers themselves, partnered with a sub. And then we obviously provide a amplifier, which is a dire need right now with you know, all the chip shortages and everything that's going on. Amplifiers are obviously a big part of your whole solution, and we do offer this as a kit, which makes it easy for the integrator, installer, and the end user to be able to package this as a system.
You know what's really exciting is to see higher performance solutions like Beale Street Audio focusing in the outdoor market. And one of the interesting things that we had from our most recent research was that the size of outdoor projects almost doubled. So what we found was that maybe a homeowner that was putting in a handful of a limited audio system or even a limited video system really went full scale. And I don't know if that was due to the pandemic, but what is your experience? What are you hearing from integrators out there in terms of the size of some of these outdoor projects?
Yeah, that's a great question, because I think it's twofold. I think one, obviously being pandemic was a huge thing, but I think what's really unique in talking specifically with integrators, even within, you know, some of the jobs we've seen on site, I think it's mainly the pricing of outdoor projects have been more easy to deal with, right? TVs have gotten more affordable. Speakers have gotten more affordable. You know, when outdoor first was a big idea, is extremely expensive due to, you know, the technology of the time and weatherproofing and so forth. But it's become such a big category that's more affordable and much more affordable in a larger scale. I think that's been a huge driving factor beyond COVID, obviously. I think there's more accessibility to products out there that allow us to do a really nice, or integrators to do a really nice job on these products and not cost so much of a large expense anymore. So I think that's a big factor as well. But we actually see a continuum of an uptick in the outdoor space. Obviously, you know, weathering states drive that a little more, but even in colder states, we're seeing a huge uptick in outdoor audio.
Yeah, so you kind of jumped ahead to one of my other questions there, which is where you see it's heading now. So now we're in the quote unquote post-pandemic world, thank God.
Yes.
And people aren't necessarily bound to being at home or being in those backyards. But as you say, they've maybe recognized that they sat at home for so long and realized that they didn't have a good audio system out there in their backyard, or they didn't have enough speakers. Do you see that? You do see that continuing, even though we're now kind of out of the pandemic world?
Yes, and a lot of it is versatility, is kind of what I'm explaining within our speakers, right? And listen, we're not the only guys doing it, right? Of course, we'd love to say we are, but we're not. But it's the versatility. You can do patios, you can do you know, staked speakers. You can really maneuver where you want your speakers to be, and companies are getting more versatile and a lot more affordable to deal with that. You know, Originally too, it was a lot of burial subs, which can be difficult sometimes for installation. Now there's just so many other options for bass and subwoofers, and honestly, the quality of the waterproofing products have just increased so much. So I'm excited to see it continue. I think audio even obviously is going to be much larger than video, but even you got so many other companies developing so many different smaller sources for outdoor audio as well. So given the fact that as long as the amps are there and that we can power these products, I continue to see a massive uptick for this outdoor audio space.
Fantastic. So let's talk about, for maybe a listener on this, or a viewer on our YouTube channel who's watching this, what would be the keys to success for somebody who maybe is just jumping into the outdoor space? What are some of the some advice or keys to success for them to really make hay in this outdoor space?
Yeah, I think if you're new to it and you're really wanting to jump in, kits are really important. Okay, it's going to help you balance the system correctly. It's also going to make sure that you're, dialing in the appropriate watts and the appropriate, power you need within your system. So I think kits are a great way to start. The other thing is making sure, a lot of your products are 8 ohm or 70 volt. I mean, I think that's a huge advantage. All of our outdoor products are 8 ohm or they're 70 volts. So you can really use them in multi-facets. I think that's really important. And that goes for all of our amps too. I think that's really key starting in outdoor audio, is finding kits that are available to you, and also realizing that are they compatible 70 volt or 8 ohm, because that can give you a lot of different options to cover space.
And you mentioned earlier you have a subwoofer combination in that kit, so the 70 volt you can bring the bass in with that subwoofer combo.
Yep, you just nailed it. That's exactly right, and that's the beauty. We have a 2-channel and a 4-channel amp. You can designate any one of those channels towards that 70 volt to bring in the bass. That's exactly correct.
All right, so let's talk about some of the challenges. You mentioned, cold weather climates, and obviously landscapers and landscape architects and all those sorts of things. But what are some of the challenges that integrators are going to face in outdoor work, and how can they overcome those challenges?
Sure. I think the main thing is, IP ratings. You need to make sure all your IP ratings are substantial enough to the inclement weather that you're dealing with, right? So if you know exactly the temperature that, a lower temperature that it gets in the area, you need to make sure that any of your plastics and IP ratings are rated for that. Especially when it comes to the subwoofers. Subwoofers are a lot larger space, obviously a lot larger speaker. It gives a lot more areas for moisture to leak. So I think IP ratings obviously are huge. When you're running cable, obviously try to run it as close to a strong structure as possible, so you don't risk landscaping cut lines and so forth. And obviously we recommend any runs, being a UL and rated cable that can be in ground. A lot of people unfortunately don't use sometimes ground rated, speaker cabling, and that can cause a lot of problems 1-2 years down the road.
All right, Mark Corbin, Vanco, thanks for joining CE Pro today and talking about Beale Street Audio's outdoor audio offerings. And what I was thinking, we've got these larger and more affordable systems are great news for the integrator. They're great news for the homeowner, but it might be bad news for the next door neighbor.
That's right. Might be a little noisy.
Yeah. They'll just have to get their own system to combat it. That's
start a trend. It's just drag it down the whole block, right?
Exactly. I love it. All right, Mark, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you so much for the time, Jason. Always enjoy it.